Is it true, Papa? Are bandits killing innocents along these trails?
Oh, Pumpkin. There are no bandits.
Well, I guess one of my favorite games just got an anime adaptation. The Witcher is most known for the series of games that 90% of you played or just heard about. But in order to understand the bigger picture, we have to go to the roots and tie the Witcher series to the series of books written by Andrzej Sapkowski. He wrote his first story on a whim in order to enter a contest by a Polish science fiction and fantasy magazine Fantastica. The story follows Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter with two swords, one made out of silver for killing monsters and one a regular one for killing humans. He exists in a very dark world, but even so, his code of ethics is never questioned. This world was heavily influenced by Slavic mythology, and for some mysterious reason everyone is drinking vodka, wearing Adidas and screaming at you, "Kurwa pizdec." The writer got himself the third place, but even so, it was beloved by both critics and readers alike. That put him in the perfect position to write books for the Witcher series. One thing led to another, and the Polish developer CD Projekt Red got their hands on the series. And even though they were a fairly unknown studio that was porting Western games to the Polish customers, they made a Witcher game that quickly gained a cult following. It was a niche game that was fairly popular, but all of that was about to change when they released The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This game set an industry standard. It had shown everyone what an RPG needs to be. It had won many Game of the Year awards. And to this day, I don't think there was a single RPG that came even close to The Witcher. Skip fast forward to today and we have the Netflix animated series called The Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf. It was done by Studio Mir, a Korean American studio that had many great animations under their belt, such as Legend of Korra, Boondocks, and most recently Dota Dragon's Blood, which I covered in the past. You can check it by clicking right here. I'm Joe from Anime Bros, and today I will answer the question of will this adaptation live up to the high expectations fans of the Witcher series have. The story follows Vesemir, a witcher who is trying to save a noble boy from a lesion in a forest of Kaedwen. He easily overpowered the creature, and with his dying breath, creature tells him something in the archaic Elvish dialect, which led him to believe that the creature was controlled by someone. Shortly after, Vesemir is reminiscent of his youth when he was working as a servant with his best friend Ilyana, when the wife of the nobleman suddenly got ill, where no mere herbs were enough to cure such illness. Vesemir meets with a witcher named Deglan, who told him that the woman was possessed by Mar, and that only with the help of a witcher the woman can successfully be exorcised. Witcher offers his help to a nobleman, but for a hefty price, an amount of money that the young Vesemir could have only dreamed about. Vesemir offers his help to the witcher, and they successfully exorcise the poor woman. That night, the Witcher rewarded Vesemir with few golden coins. He earned more money that night helping a Witcher than he ever did being as a servant. At that moment, he realized that he will never amount to anything in life unless he becomes a Witcher, which led him to make a decision to leave everything behind and join the school of Witchers. He made a promise to his best friend that once he gets enough money, he will go out and buy himself a house by the lake. Path to Kaer Morhen was not an easy one. He finds out that he was not the only boy that wants to become a Witcher, or so he thought. Most of the boys actually got taken away from their parents when their parents didn't have enough money to pay the Witcher's fee. And you would think that that would be it for these poor boys. Witcher's powers come from mutations, and those mutations are done through many body-altering experiments. After many years of most brutal training and experiments, Vesemir finally becomes a Witcher. which leads us back to the present, where he finds out that an elf named Phalandriel holds a piece of critical information on the case of someone controlling monsters. He thinks that the monsters are controlled by Kitsu, an elvish girl that disappeared not too long ago. Phalandriel asks him for help, but due to the Phalandriel lacking any gold, Vesemir refuses. For the story of The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, I give it a rating of 8.2 out of 10. The animation in this anime is simply exceptional, and it's up to the standards of what Studio Mir has been providing us past few years, and this could arguably be their best work so far. The level of detail in fight scenes is simply amazing. Watching this reminded me of another great Netflix series, Castlevania, which I also covered in the past. Overall, I don't have any real complaints about this movie when it comes to the animation department. Everything is done well, and for the animation for this movie, I have to give it 8.7 out of 10. Music in this show is fine and is pretty accurate when it comes to the Witcher universe, but at the same time I couldn't remember a single track. I had to listen to all of them all over again just for this review, and it does its work, but it's nothing to write home about. I might be too harsh on this one, but I have to compare it to Witcher video games that have so many bangers that you can listen to once you finish the game, which led me to give a nice number of 6.9 for the music in The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf. Voice actors gave us a really solid performance. We saw a return of cast members from other Netflix animated series, where most of them came from Castlevania, which in this case is not really a bad thing. Vesemir is played by Theo James, who previously played Hector in Castlevania. He didn't disappoint with his performance, and I would argue that he is even better at playing Vesemir. And I would also have to point out that the voice actor behind the side character, an elf Phalandriel, who was voiced by Tom Kenton, who apparently only voiced this elf so far in his career, and I have to applaud him for that since he was really good for his first outing. And for voice acting, I have to give 7.7 out of 10. I had high hopes for this movie, but having a PTSD from other video game adaptations on Witcher, and I was being realistic on this one, might not be the most awesome thing that I would ever see. Even though this movie is not as great as its video game counterpart, I have to give it props. I really had a fun time watching this movie. I think that the Netflix had proven us that we really don't need live action adaptations, we just have to animate our video game adaptations. Which led me to give the final score of Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf 7.87 out of 10. If you want to express your thoughts, please let me know in the comments down below. Please smash that like button. If you want to subscribe to Anime Bros and see more videos like this, please do so, it helps out the channel a lot. Also consider joining our Discord server for free, and until the next time, see ya!